everybody. I hope you all are doing well, and welcome back to Whiskey Wanders. And I will say one of the best things about this time of the year is that it's whiskey season, when all the whiskey is running. And if you don't catch it, well, you basically kind of sort of have to wait until the end of next year and the beginning of next year, the following year that is, to get it again. And today we have a perfect example of this because we are probably at one of the best Costco's on all of the West Coast, arguably, Costco in San Diego, located on Morena Blvd and Pacific Beach, where they are known to have a little bit of Pappy, a little bit of GTS, and some Hakushus and some Hibikis and all those kinds of things that are great. But this time around, nothing that crazy, but still pretty good. Like one of my favorite Knob Creeks, which is the Knob Creek 18, and usually is pretty hard to find, but they basically have it by the case here. And also the Redbreast 27, one of the tippy tops from an amazing Irish whiskey house. Now, before we get to it, if you like these videos, if you like the wanders, if you like the hauls, if you like the reviews, the unbottlings, the unboxings, and really all the amazing stuff that we got cooking up for you, and we have tons of amazing stuff cooking up, don't forget to like and subscribe because it does really help the channel to grow, and we are so thankful for that. But also because you get updates when our newest videos come out. All right, now, let's get down to the video. So while we are getting the Wander Vision fired up there, and while we ourselves are getting fired up, let's do a real quick whiskey check and get a glass. And I think since it is still the winter time, I think what I'm going to enjoy is something very wintry-y. And one of my favorite go-to wintry drinkers, this Michter's 10 Rye. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And also has a very nice tactile feel with the fishnets, if you catch my drift. So let's see if we can get it turned over on both sides here and get a pop. Hey, that's a pretty good one so far for the year. And get some juice. Oh, yeah. And of course, to whiskey, because let's face it, you can never really drink too much of it. You can only just sort of drink it too fast. Cheers. Oh man, you touch my... All right, so first up for today is what I think is probably the oldest version out of the line that is produced. That is, maybe it's mass produced. I don't know if it's mass produced. It looks like it's mass produced with how many they have here. But I don't think it's mass produced, which is going to be this Knob Creek 18 version number 2. So that is the second round, the 2023 version of it. And oh man, is Knob Creek 18 so sweet. Now, Knob Creek, if you recall, and I do not because I was not old enough to drink at the time, but, you know, it was kind of one of the first boutique scaled up, maybe like luxury bourbons that started to crawl back out from under the rocks after the last whiskey ice age. I recall it being seen as like a luxury whiskey. There was much to do about it, and, you know, when it came out, but over the last decade or so, it's become not so much this kind of avant-garde, whispered about delicious whiskey. Instead, it has become more of a stable, kind of nice daily drinker, a good, a very good whiskey, but just kind of lost that edge. I know how you feel. But now, as the whiskey market, with all that new money coming into it and starting to climb the ladder of bourbon deliciousness, everybody is starting to go high. You know, previously everyone went low. Now everyone's going to high. I mean, Jack Daniels is doing some really interesting stuff with their like finished and double barreling and all that kind of stuff. Where before, you know, you just kind of church it up with a little bit of Coke and maybe a lime. That also goes with Basil Hayden, which is literally trying every possible combination in the book to get their bourbon juiced up a little bit to stay relevant. But the Knob Creek, of course, is in that vein as well. And this one specifically is the apex at 18. I mean, 18 years is a pretty rarefied air for bourbon. Sure, scotches like the Macallan and the Talisker and Obans, they hit 18 every other day and twice on Sunday, but bourbons, anything older than 18 or older, I mean, you're really moving into that first class territory. And I'm not just talking about the first class where you get on the plane and you take a left. I'm talking about that first class where you get on the plane and then you go up the stairs. Yeah, that first class. Now, if you didn't know, Knob Creek is one of the gargantuan family members of bourbon that is out of Jim Beam. It has a very classic Jim Beam taste, much closer relationship to things like maybe like a Booker's or a Little Book, or maybe even some of the Yellowstones. I don't know if anyone talks about that side of the family, you know, the Yellowstones, but they all have a very similar family resemblance. But the 18 is a relatively recent addition. I think the first one was released. In fact, we have the first version of it, 001, was released in 2022. So that is last year. And you can see that there is not really much difference other than the fact that Costco has foregone much of the pomp and circumstance that came with the first version of this and just kind of gone with the basic bottle, which, you know, maybe that's all anybody wants. But you can see here, these two are one season apart, if you will. The new one is KC002 and the old one, 2022, KC001. Now, the nice things about these is that they are the standard Knob Creek mash bill. So 77% corn, 13% rye, and 10% malted barley. And it was originally created to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the brand. So why is having the exact same mash bill as the younger ones, you know, a plus? In my mind, is because it is like the 9-year-old standard Knob Creek, but older. It is the same as the 12-year-old Knob Creek, but again, older. And it's even, you know, like the 15-year-old Knob Creek, but, you know, older. So you can really see how Knob Creek matures and changes throughout that time, and ultimately comes out in its ultimate form of the 18. Either way, we saw this one at Costco for $147.99, which is an exemplar price because I couldn't find any recent prices from a Total Wine, as it is sold out. And the only ones I could find from our local whiskey emporium, also sold out, had it at $179.99. So that means that by picking this one up here at Costco, we did end up saving about $32 off the next closest price, or 21.62%. And also, you know, we didn't have to beg for it. The ABV on the Knob Creek 18 is going to be a very reasonable 50% ABV or 100% proof, and I think that is the same for both years. In fact, I don't really see much of a difference between either of the years. And the tasting notes that I could find on the Knob Creek 18, including mine, because we have another one that is open, I mentioned that there is a distinct family nuttiness that you get from the Beam family, a very burnt sugar like the top of creme brulee, and tobacco, leather, gingerbread, and a very, very aggressive oakiness as well as tannin. The overall reviews that I could find on the Knob Creek 18, especially when we average mine in there, give it a very solid 90 points out of 100, most of them being 88 to 89 on that range. But I also included mine in there that is perhaps a little overvalued at 91. So that's what brought it up to 90. And I don't know, I just really enjoy it. So I felt like it needed a little bit of proof. And that being said, obviously this was a buy for us. Also nice to have both batch 1 as well as batch 2. And I think it'll be very interesting to try them out both side by side, because technically they should be basically identical, but you know, whiskey is never identical in that you can't put your hand in the same river twice kind of way. So I'd love to see how batch 1 differs from batch 2, and hopefully there's some sort of improvement, or at least a interesting nuanced change that could make all the difference. So that is the Knob Creek 18. Super duper excited to have this one, and yeah, we're real excited to open these up, and I guess open this one up and give it a try, but we only did get one, so I might have to get 2 first. Anyways, Knob Creek 810, round 2. Now next up is another from the tippy top of the lines that are my favorite, out of the farthest county in Kentucky, and by Kentucky I mean Ireland, which is going to be this Redbreast 27. Now, Redbreast is one of my absolute favorite Irish whiskeys, because it is obviously delicious. It always makes a great usage of the sherry cask and bourbon barrels, and it is always crafted to an overall family profile that is just delicious. It just speaks to me for whichever reason. But I guess thinking about it, Redbreast was really one of the first Irish whiskeys that I ever had outside the well-level Irish whiskeys. And it's probably just because they had them at Costco, and that's where I was shopping, and I picked them up. And I do kind of wonder how things would have gone if I had gone the other way and, you know, got a high-end Bushmills or something like that, or a Teelings, and just kind of went down that way. Never did though. And so Redbreast has been one of my go-to Irish whiskeys really ever since. And we've started to work our way up, as you can see, to get to the very tippy top of the Redbreast line, which is this beautiful and beautifully encased Redbreast 27. Now, the Redbreast 27 is the highest in the line that I have seen. It is not cheap, but we're going to get to that here in a second. And it is distilled at Middleton, like much of all the whiskey that's coming out of Ireland. And they use traditional Irish pot stills to produce it. And it's made from 100% malted as well as unmalted barley. Oh, and it's triple distilled. And I'm not exactly sure which batch this one is, because this is not the one that we saw at Costco, because we already had one and plus another one. So buying a third one would be a bit much. But the price that we do see this one here at Costco for, or the Redbreast 27 at Costco, is $579. And of course, that is going to be the lesser of the cost for the big box stores out there, because you can find it at Total Wine for a whopping $849.99. Holy bejesus, Total Wine. No wonder it's fine the glass forever. I've seen that one for 3 months back there. I mean, also, you can also find it at Bevmo, who has a better price than Total Wine, which is oftentimes a rarity, at $611.99, which would mean that if someone were to pick this one up at the Costco, they would be saving $32 over the Bevmo price, or 5.7%. And with regards to Total Wine, shame on you. Just being greedy. Anyways, the ABV we can see on here is sort of a strange 53.1%, or 106.2 proof. But the tasting notes that I could find on here, including mine, is that there is a very lovely underlying citrus flavor, as well as a very thick lemon curd, almost like a frosting flavor to it. Initially, there are slightly underripe berries to, maybe like a raspberry, raspberries, and that are just a little too young. They have a little tardiness to them, which some people like. I know I like for sure. Additionally, the reviews on it and the ones that I could find, plus mine, give it a overall average score of 92 points out of 100, which I think is very appropriate, considering it is a bottle of whiskey that is $600. So I guess if you bought it at Total Wine, it's $900. But yeah, it should be pretty highly rated. And I guess the thing is, if you have worked your way through the standard Redbreast line, starting with the normal Redbreast, maybe a 12, go to 15, try some of the Listowel, some of the PX, even some of the off-brand ones, the Kentucky Oak. Eventually, if you drink enough of it and you get to the 21, and whatever else is in between there, you're going to end up here at the 27, and there's not going to be anywhere else to go, and there's not going to be anywhere else you're going to want to go, because it is absolutely amazing. So we did not bike this one up here at the Costco, because we did already have this one, and we have the other one that's already open. We don't drink it that much, and like I said, the cost per ounce gets a little spicy. So in this case, it was a pass, just because we are kind of full up on our quota and need to save our money for some of the other bottles, which you're going to see here in some of the videos to come. But if you want this kind of very rare limited expression of Redbreast, and you've tried the rest, it's definitely going to be a buy. So that is the Redbreast 27. Oh, so good. All right, so that's it for today's Whiskey Wander at the Costco in Morena Boulevard. And I really hope that you enjoyed it. In fact, I kind of hope that you enjoy all of our videos, whether it is the Wanders or the hauls or the reviews or the unbottlings, the unboxings, and really all the amazing stuff that we got cooking up for you. And we got tons of amazing stuff still to come, especially 2024. Here we go, baby. We got so much great stuff. But if you did like that stuff, please don't forget to like and subscribe, because it really does help the channel to grow. You can see we are growing. We're over 2,000 views for sure. Thank you so much. But also, just remember, if you do find a whiskey that you love, just buy it. Because if you don't, somebody else surely will. And in this case, for sure, it'll be me. All right, everybody, I'm out. Have a great rest of your week, and adios.